Hello and welcome to Promenade Française. In today's video, we're going to talk about two things. First, we're going to talk about what is Promenade Française, and then we're going to talk about what are we working on right now. To begin with, Promenade Française, promenade, it means to walk or to stroll. Française, it means French. So this is our walk with French. And it's my journey to learn the French language so that I can return back to Canada, the French-speaking part of Canada, and become a part of the French-speaking community in Canada. I'm not in Canada right now. And the idea of Promenade Française, it's not just talking about my journey and the insanely difficult path that I'm taking to learn French, and I don't know why it's taking so long. I speak Chinese fluently, I can speak intermediate Russian, but French, I don't know. But that's the point. When we learn to walk, we start with baby steps. And what I did was I went out and I looked at all the different ways people are teaching French and all these different books, and I said, well, at the end of the day, the first thing I want to start out with is greetings in French. And so I created a book called Greetings in French. The most important part of greetings in French is our characters. And we begin with Marie. Marie, she walks around and she's greeting all these different people throughout her day. Then in book 2, we have Nicolas, and he's walking around. He's a university teacher. He's walking around and saying hello to all these people during his day. And both of these people live in Paris. So I got a French speaker to read all of the sentences. We recorded the audio, and now we have the audio files. So you can listen to French audio in your car or while you're walking your dog. Promenade Française. The challenge, of course, was that as I started to do this, I noticed that I needed also to understand some grammar. As we started moving into the sentences, I started listening, I started trying to memorize the sentences, the greetings, because I thought, well, the best thing to do when you learn French is learn all the greetings. So we started learning the greetings. We're now on page 2 of the first book. And Marie is visiting Madame Marot at her flower shop. So the second part of Promenade Française is exercises. And if you look at some of the earlier videos, and if you look at the Linktree link above, then you're going to find access to a bunch of exercises. Every day, what can you do? You can listen to the audio, you can read the book, and you can do exercises. All of the exercises are meant to help you to develop your French muscles. And as you develop your French muscles, and you listen and repeat the sentences, you're going to be able to speak French. All right, the third part is that I am currently working on new exercises. As I work through the book myself, I'm also creating exercises with my French teacher. And that helps me to really understand and break down the book and also French in a step-by-step way. So that brings us to part 2 of the video. Part 2 today is the exercise that I'm working on right now. In the exercise that I'm working on right now, we're trying to understand these two parts of a sentence. You see, when we use pronouns like I, he, she, they, we, and them, in French, they affect the way that you conjugate verbs. So that's one difficult part. And to address that, I've created some exercises in the past. For example, with être, how do you conjugate these different pronouns using the word être? And also I made an exercise about comment, how is your day going? So the verb aller. That's the beginning of the sentence. It's conjugating the pronouns with the verb. But we also have the pronouns at the end of the sentence. So for example, if I see you, the question is, it's easy for you, right? Because you see you, I see you. But what about when we turn it around? You see me. You see, I and me. Even in the English language, we have a challenge when it comes to what's called the subject position, which is the beginning of the sentence, and the object position, which is the end of the sentence. I see you, you see me. And so I and me, one is a subject position pronoun, and one is a object position pronoun. So if you click the Linktree link above and you jump into the blog article called Under Construction, which is because I'm like constructing it right now, I'm making the exercise right now, you'll see that I'm building the very first exercise, and we're using the verb voir. All right, so imagine that you are Marie and you go to the flower shop and you want to understand how to use the verb voir, and you want to know how to conjugate the verb, and you also want to know how to put in an object pronoun. So we start in the left-hand column. Who do you see? Who do you see? Now, you can see that there's actually two questions in French. You have qui vois-tu? Because when we have tu, it's like the informal way of saying you. And the question is, who do you see, in the informal way? And then we have qui voyez-vous? Qui voyez-vous? So it's like, who do you see? But it's in the formal way. So Marie, when she's addressing Madame Marot, she will say, qui voyez-vous? And when Madame Marot is addressing Marie, she will say, qui vois-tu? You can do this exercise with a friend or with your teacher. So your teacher says, qui vois-tu? And you will say, all right, so now, as you can see from the exercise, we have like different rows. So the first one, it says je, and then there's a space, voir, with the English myself. Now in the next row, it says je, and then we have the space, voir, and then in the English, it says you, informal. Then next row, we have je, and then we have a space, voir, with the word him. And then the next row is je, with a space, voir, which is her. And you can see that the boxes about him and her are a little bit more gray than the other boxes. And that's because of something called indirect and direct objects. In this case, to see, it's a direct, like I see you. So I'm directly looking at you. Like, who are you looking at? I'm looking at you. It's like direct, very direct. And later in the exercise, you're going to see indirect. But for today, let's just focus on direct. All right, so we go through all of these different object pronouns. Like, how do we say myself and you and him and her? Now, in the next column, you have who do I see? And there's two different columns. So you can see there's qui vois-je? Qui vois-je? Because if Marie is talking, she's going to say, what? Who do I see? And Madame Marot is going to say tu. For example, if she says tu, you see me, she'll say tu, and then the object pronoun for me and voir. I got to fill out this exercise. All right, so the answers, this is not the answer video. Now, in the next column, you have who do I see? But if this is Madame Marot who's asking, then Marie, she's going to use the formal way. So she's going to say vous. Then we put the object pronoun for me, and then voyez. In the fourth column, we have who does he see? And in the fifth column, we have who does she see? All right, so all of these are singular. So go ahead and click the Linktree link above, access the exercise, and start working on the first section and the first exercise. Learn how to conjugate the verb voir, and learn how to put the personal pronoun in the object position.